Have you ever watched a YouTube video that inspired you so much, but instead of motivating you to create something, it made you feel like you could never create something like that? There is definitely this gap between inspiration that you find on something that you watch and the self belief that you can actually create something like that. I think the key word in this whole situation is the word yet. You can't create something like that yet. The word yet makes a huge difference because nobody starts at the top. Everyone starts somewhere and they work their way up to something that inspires someone or whatever their job description is, but they start at the bottom and work their way up until they get to a point where it inspires someone else to strive to the same level that they are on. But it could have taken them 20 years or whatever to get there, and you can't expect that you can get there without practice, without learning new skills. No one starts at the awesome stage. They all start at the I'm not good at this stage and then work their way up. I'm quite a big fan of YouTube. I watch quite a bit of YouTube, and about 3 years ago I made the decision to start to create. I wanted to create YouTube videos, and at first you obviously don't know what that entails. So when I made my first video, I realized how difficult it actually is to talk to a camera, and then not only that, but to have the skill to record yourself properly and then go and edit the video and all that kind of things. It all comes together to create a good video, and you have to acquire these skills over time. In the past 3 years, I've acquired quite a bit of skill in photography and videography, especially videography. But when I started 3 years ago, it was very overwhelming. In this 3 years that I've been creating, I've never really come to a place where I feel confident or comfortable to talk to a camera like this. So that's why I started this 30-day challenge talking to a camera. I'm hoping that with practice and repetition, I can get more comfortable talking to a camera like this. I might split this video into a few pieces, so if I did, the links will be up in the top here and also down in the description, and they will obviously be in sequence. So if you just watch my playlist, I'll link it down below. You can watch the whole series, but I'm just checking if this comes out very long, then I'll split it into a few pieces. So I want to start with my photography journey, and I never realized this, but as a small child I already ran around with the camera and took pictures of things and that, but I don't think my parents really realized the passion I have for photography, so I was never really pushed to go further into that. The first time I could really remember of starting to take pictures, and that was when we started going back to the Kruger National Park. We moved to Cape Town in end of 1999, and then we didn't really go to the Kruger National Park until I think around 2004, somewhere around there. And my mom had a camera, and I would then start taking photos of the animals. And that's really where it started picking up for me, something I liked doing, to take pictures. And even at that stage, I didn't really realize that it's such a big passion of mine to do that. So it went on for a few years, and only when me and Marika married in 2016, I decided that I would like to get my own camera. I obviously moved out of my parents' house at that stage, and then I decided that I would like to have my own proper camera, and that was the Nikon D500, my first camera that I ever bought and had of my own. And up until that point, I only really shot on a quite basic camera, and it was probably in auto mode, I can't remember, but the quality was obviously just like a normal person's photos that anyone can basically take those photos. When I got my first camera, I basically started from scratch. I didn't know anything about photography, what shutter speed meant or what it did, what aperture did or meant. None of these things really, I didn't even know they existed basically. ISO, And so I started researching photography quite a bit, watching a lot of YouTube videos, and that's where I think my passion also for YouTube started. The amount of things that you can learn from YouTube is quite fascinating and extraordinary. And yeah, so I taught myself from watching YouTube videos how to shoot photos. I did that for many years, and then about 3 years ago I decided to start taking videography a bit more serious. I felt like I had the camera, the photography part under control, and so I wanted to start going into video. And that's where I realized that my Nikon D500 was definitely not the camera for video. so yeah, that was my photography journey.